My wife filed for a divorce while I was thousands of miles away trying to build the life she said she wanted. I still remember that morning clearly. I had just finished a 12-hour shift and was sitting in the staff canteen, sipping bitter coffee, scrolling through my phone when her message came in. I filed for divorce. Please don't contact me. That was it. No explanation. No warmth. Just a few cold words that froze every part of me. Welcome to Raw Reddit Tales. Subscribe to keep getting the spiciest stories. For a long moment, I thought it was a joke, maybe a cruel prank or a wrong message. Amelia wasn't the type to act impulsively. I thought she wasn't. I called her immediately, but the call went straight to voicemail. I called again and again. Each ring felt heavier, emptier. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. I tried to convince myself there had to be a misunderstanding. Maybe she was hurt. Maybe someone had influenced her. But then I checked our joint account, the one I'd been sending money into every month for rent, bills, and savings. The balance was zero, every cent gone. That was when denial turned into dread. I sat there surrounded by chatter and laughter from my coworkers, feeling like the world was collapsing around me. My wife, the woman I loved, the woman I was sacrificing everything for, had not only filed for divorce behind my back, but had drained our savings and cut me off completely. Over the next few days, I tried everything. Emails, calls to her family, even reaching out to mutual friends. Everyone suddenly went silent, like I was the villain in a story I didn't know I was part of. Then came the email from her lawyer. Formal. Heartless. Our client has initiated divorce proceedings on the grounds of abandonment. Abandonment. That word hit harder than anything else. I hadn't abandoned her. I had been breaking my body overseas so she could live comfortably. I was doing it for us. But now she was using my absence, my sacrifice, as her weapon. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying every goodbye kiss, every promise, every I love you. It all suddenly felt rehearsed. I spent that night staring at the ceiling of my tiny apartment, wondering how love could rot so quietly. There were no warnings, no fights big enough to hint at something this cruel. We had dreams, a business we wanted to start, a home we planned to build together. Every decision I made was for her. But now, she was gone, and I was left with the ghost of a life I thought we shared. The next morning, I dragged myself out of bed and went straight to the HR office. I told them I needed emergency leave. The woman behind the desk gave me a sympathetic look when I said the words divorce. But I didn't need pity. I needed answers. I booked the next flight home, my hands trembling the whole time. The closer I got to my city, the more I hoped there had been some mistake, that I'd walk in and she'd tell me it was all a misunderstanding. When I landed, everything felt unfamiliar, even the air. I got into a cab, and the driver kept talking about football while I sat there, silently praying that this was a nightmare I'd soon wake up from. But when I finally reached our house, it hit me. The car was gone, the curtains were different, and the nameplate beside the door no longer had my name on it. A stranger opened the door. A young man, maybe in his late 20s. My heart started racing. I asked where Amelia was. He said she'd moved out weeks ago. My voice cracked as I asked if he knew where she went. He shrugged and said, she said something about moving in with her boyfriend. I swear, for a moment, everything around me went silent. My chest tightened so much it hurt to breathe. I walked away slowly, trying not to collapse right there on the sidewalk. My phone buzzed. It was an email notification from her lawyer again. Please refrain from contacting our client directly. All communication will go through legal channels. Legal channels. That was the woman I built my life around, now hiding behind legal terms. I went to my friend's apartment that night, numb, staring at the ceiling again. I wasn't sure what was worse, losing her or realizing I'd been living with a stranger for years. The next few days blurred into each other. I barely ate, barely spoke. Every morning, I woke up with that same sinking feeling. The one that comes when you realize the person who once promised to love you forever has already moved on, probably sleeping beside someone else. My lawyer told me to stay calm. But how do you stay calm when your entire life has been gutted in your absence? I spent hours digging through bank statements, emails, and messages, trying to make sense of what happened. The transfers were clean, precise even. She'd been moving small amounts for months, hiding it behind rent payments and household expenses. It was a slow bleed, so subtle that I never noticed. She'd planned this long before she sent that text. The divorce wasn't a reaction. It was an execution. Then I found something that shattered whatever was left of my composure. An email chain between her and a man named Ryan, dated back 6 months. They weren't just talking, they were planning. He called her babe. She called him my love. I scrolled through each message, my hands trembling harder with every line. They joked about how clueless I was, about how I wouldn't even see it coming. I felt sick. I remember running to the sink and throwing up. That's how real betrayal hits you, not just in your heart, but in your body. Every nerve burns with disbelief. Later that night, I sat on the floor, staring at the laptop screen, rereading her words. The woman who once said she'd wait for me, who cried at the airport, was laughing about how easily she could destroy me. And she did. But the worst part wasn't even the cheating. It was how calculated it all was. The false affection. The staged calls. The months of pretending everything was fine while she was preparing to erase me completely. She drained the accounts, filed for divorce, moved in with him, and made sure I couldn't even contact her legally. For the first time in my life, I didn't cry. I just sat there, silent, empty, realizing that love, real love, had died somewhere between the lies and the bank withdrawals. That night, I promised myself something. If she could plan destruction, then I could plan justice. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat in the dark, replaying every moment of our life together like a cruel movie I couldn't pause. The way she used to laugh when she stole fries off my plate, the way she'd wrap her arms around me after a fight, whispering, "You're my forever." Every memory now felt poisonous, a reminder of how easily she fooled me. But even as anger boiled inside me, something else kept rising. Love. That stubborn, aching kind of love that refuses to die, even when it should. My lawyer told me we could go after her legally for financial misconduct. She had emptied the joint account without consent. That was theft, plain and simple. But when I saw her name in the court documents, my heart twisted. I couldn't even bring myself to sign the papers. Every time I tried to take a step toward revenge, that same voice in my head whispered, "But it's Amelia." She wasn't just my wife. She was my first love, my only real home. Still, part of me wanted her to feel what I felt. I wanted her to know what it was like to wake up with nothing but regret and cold silence. I even drafted a message to her new boyfriend, Ryan. I wanted to send him screenshots of their emails, expose her lies, ruin whatever happiness she thought she'd built. My thumb hovered over the send button for nearly an hour, but I couldn't do it. My chest tightened, my eyes burned, and before I knew it, I deleted everything. Because even after everything she'd done, the lies, the betrayal, the humiliation, I still loved her. Pathetic, right? But love isn't logical. It's a disease that stays long after the fever breaks. There were nights I'd lie awake, imagining her walking through that door, saying she made a mistake. I'd picture her crying, begging for forgiveness, and in my stupid heart, I knew I'd give it. That's what scared me most. Not that she'd left, but that she could destroy me twice if she ever came back. So instead of revenge, I drowned myself in work. I told myself time would heal me, but time only sharpened the truth. I was still waiting for a woman who'd already moved on. Weeks turned into months, but the pain didn't fade. It just changed shape. It stopped burning and started aching. I'd go through the motions of everyday life. Wake up, shower, go to work, but everything felt mechanical. People at work would ask how I was doing, and I'd smile, say I'm fine, even though inside I was hollow. Nights were the worst. That was when her ghost came back, in the quiet, in the shadows, in the empty space beside me. Sometimes I'd scroll through old photos, her smile, her eyes, her handwriting on sticky notes she used to leave on my lunch bag. "Love you, baby," one said. I kept that note in my wallet for years. Now it felt like a joke, a reminder of how blind love can make you. I'd wonder if she ever thought about me, even for a second. Did she ever feel guilty? Or was she too busy building a new life with him? My lawyer kept pushing me to pursue justice. "You have a strong case," he said. "You could recover everything she took." But justice didn't interest me anymore. What was the point of winning money when I'd already lost the one thing that couldn't be replaced? Peace? Revenge would have been easy. Healing was harder. And no matter how much I hated to admit it, I didn't want to destroy her. I just wanted to understand why. I tried therapy, even though I didn't believe in it at first. The counselor asked me one question that stayed with me. "If she stood in front of you right now, what would you say?" I thought about that for a long time. My answer changed every week. First anger, then confusion, then silence. But eventually, it became something else entirely. "I forgive you." Not because she deserved it, but because I needed to stop bleeding for someone who no longer cared. Still, forgiving didn't mean forgetting. I started rebuilding my life quietly, opening a new bank account, moving to a smaller apartment, cutting off mutual friends who still fed me gossip about her. Every time someone mentioned her name, my chest still tightened. But I'd learned to breathe through it. And yet, deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that this story between us wasn't over. That somewhere, fate was waiting with a final twist I couldn't see coming. It happened almost a year later, when I had finally started feeling like myself again. I had stopped checking her social media, stopped expecting closure, stopped waiting for the past to apologize. Life had settled into a quiet rhythm. I was saving up, working extra shifts, even thinking of going back to school. I didn't smile much, but at least I could look in the mirror without feeling like a failure. That's when the email came. It was from Amelia. Her name, glowing on my phone screen, froze me in place. My first instinct was to delete it, but curiosity, or maybe that old stubborn love, made me open it. Her message was short. "I made a mistake. Can we talk?" I sat there staring at the words. My heart pounded like it used to when she'd text me back in the early days, but beneath that familiar ache was something new. Caution. I didn't reply immediately. I waited a day, then two. On the third day, I finally answered, "What do you want to talk about?" She replied within minutes. She said things hadn't gone the way she planned. Ryan, the man she left me for, had been cheating on her too, with someone from his office. He had taken the money she stole from me and disappeared. Suddenly, she was the one left broken, abandoned, and alone. Reading her words, I didn't feel satisfaction. I didn't even feel anger. Just sadness, the kind that sits quietly in your chest, heavy but calm. She wanted to meet. Against every warning, my mind screamed I agreed. When I saw her again, she looked smaller. The confidence, the glow, gone. She cried before she even spoke. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said, "but I thought about you every single day." I wanted to hate her. I wanted to walk away. But as I looked at her, all I felt was the final release of everything I'd been holding on to. "I forgave you a long time ago," I said softly, "but we can't go back." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. That was the last time I ever saw her. Walking away, I realized something. Love doesn't always end with revenge or reunion. Sometimes it ends with peace. Quiet, undeserved peace. The end. Please like and subscribe for more interesting stories like this. What do you think of this story? Please comment below.